Hello and welcome to AmpFest. My name is Malte Ubl and I'm a member of the AMP Technical Steering Committee. I'm also the lead for the team at Google that is working on AMP. Before kicking off the event, I want to acknowledge the times we're in. We're still in the middle of a global pandemic that has affected us all. And recently, we're once again witness to the events that show the systemic racism in our society that we must do everything in our power to eradicate. While this year has been difficult, it has shown us the true power of coming together as a community. I was disappointed when we had to postpone the AmpConf in New York earlier this year. I was especially excited to return to the city where we hosted our first AmpConf almost 4 years ago. But I'm super excited to open up our first ever official online gathering of the AMP community. Once it's safe to do so, we look forward to coming together again for AmpConf in the future. Today, you'll hear talks from all across the AMP ecosystem, including developers, publishers, agencies, email marketers, and much more. Whether you're watching from your bedroom or your office, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're watching our sessions as they premiere, be sure to hop into the YouTube live chat in this video if you have any comments or questions. We'll have AMP experts on standby ready to assist. Even without AmpConf, this year has been a major year of progress for the AMP project. Back in June, AMP officially graduated from the Openjs Foundation Incubation Program to become an Openjs growth project. I'd like to welcome Robin Ginn, Executive Director of the Openjs Foundation, to say a few words about this exciting development.
Thanks, Malte. And hey, friends, it's really great to join you all at the first ever AmpFest. I'm Robin Ginn, the Executive Director of the Openjs Foundation. And as Malte mentioned, the AMP project recently graduated from the Openjs Foundation Incubation Program to become a growth project. And we're just really excited to welcome the AMP community into the Openjs family. Really, these communities to share so many of the same values. The mission at the Openjs Foundation is really to promote the adoption and continued development of key JavaScript technologies and related web technologies. And AMP joins many other cool open source projects. We have over 32 today. And we really know that by working together in an independent and a neutral foundation, we can really just ensure the continued growth of these important technologies. But before I sign off, I just want to tell everyone that we hope that you will join us tomorrow at an Openjs Foundation Ask Me Anything. That's an AMA. It's tomorrow, 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. And you can ask a question through the AMP or the Openjs Foundation Twitter handle with hashtag AskAMP. And you can also tune into our YouTube channel at the Openjs Foundation and ask questions in the live chat. So hope to see you there tomorrow. And again, welcome AMP community to Openjs. Back to you, Malte.
Thank you, Robin. We're excited to be part of the Openjs family and can't wait to continue expanding our work within the foundation. We were also thrilled to welcome a new member to the AMP Technical Steering Committee, Kasiana, a senior product manager at Axios. She led the development of Axios' AMP First website, which launched in February. Welcome, Kasiana. I also have another exciting announcement about AMP's continued role in supporting web interoperability. The AMP project has already been working closely with Igalia to help advance predictability and interoperability among browsers. We are announcing a pledge to match up to $10,000 of donations to Igalia's Open Prioritization Initiative, which seeks to fund work on new feature implementations across various web browsers. You can learn more on Igalia's website or by checking out our announcement on the AMP blog. We love doing this work to improve the platform, and we're happy to be able to collaborate in ways that contribute to bettering the web commons for all of us. 2020 has been a year of major change for AMP. You may have seen Google Search announce an upcoming search ranking change this summer that incorporates new page experience metrics. These metrics include the Chrome team's core web vitals, along with a few other signals that paint a holistic picture of a user's experience on a page. As part of this update, Google also announced it will incorporate the page experience metrics into ranking criteria for the top stories feature in search on mobile and remove the AMP requirement from top stories eligibility. In many ways, these changes are the result of a combination of 5 years of learnings from working on AMP. We know much of the AMP community has questions as to what this means for the future of AMP. And as you'll see across all of the talks today, the future of AMP is brighter than ever. I'd now like to invite my colleague Joey Rozier to share more on how the AMP team is working towards making AMP the well-led path to creating and maintaining great page experiences on the web.
Thanks, Malte. Hello, everyone. My name is Joey Rozier, and I am the Operating Director of the AMP Technical Steering Committee. With the recent page experience announcements from Google, one of the number one questions we've gotten from the AMP community was how exactly AMP was performing against core web vitals and page experience metrics. Today, I'm happy to share some data that shows how AMP already puts you on the path to achieving a great page experience. As you can see here, 60% of AMP domains pass core web vitals metrics. That's compared to only 12% of non-AMP domains that pass core web vitals metrics. This means there is a 5x chance that your domain's AMP pages pass CWV thresholds compared to non-AMP pages. We know there is still more work to be done to guarantee that all AMP domains achieve a great page experience, which is why we are working towards exactly that guarantee. Last month, we teased a new tool that we've been working on called Pixie. Pixie is a tool hosted on amp.dev that provides actionable feedback on how developers can improve the page experience of their AMP pages. This is especially relevant for pages being served on Origin, where developers can't benefit from an AMP cache. Stay tuned for a talk after this keynote from Ben Morse, as he'll walk you through how the team is working to provide a page experience guarantee for all AMP pages. On top of the great progress we've made this year with AMP and page experience, we are also making a ton of progress making AMP more flexible for developers. This gives developers the best of both worlds, the ability to optimize for page experience with the flexibility of ensuring that their business needs are met. We are doing so by investing in programs such as Bento AMP, which allows you to use AMP components outside of AMP pages. The team has made some exciting progress prototyping solutions for increasing flexibility for developers using AMP, and you'll get to hear more about this soon. With that, I'd like to hand the virtual stage back over to Malte. Thank you, everyone, for listening in.
Thanks, Joey. It's great to see the amazing progress AMP is making towards guaranteeing a great page experience on websites. But as we all know, AMP does a lot more than provide a great page experience. AMP also powers beautiful content experiences like stories on the web and dynamic email. With stories, we've seen unbelievable progress throughout the last few months. It's been almost 3 years since we introduced the story format to the web, and we continue to see many publishers adopt the format to tell compelling, visually rich stories. In parallel, tooling support for stories has greatly expanded and improved, making story authoring available to everyone, especially those who want to create without needing to think about code. Given this expanding world of story creators and consumers, we started using the term web stories, since many of the folks creating stories don't need to interact with AMP at all, and instead they use #no-code tools to express themselves any way they want. Web stories live on the web and continue to allow publishers and creators to control their content, just like any other web page. As a format, web stories are also getting a few major upgrades. We're making stories richer and more interactive with a number of new features. We're adding support for interactive quizzes within stories to allow publishers and creators to engage with their audiences and build a sense of community. We're also integrating support for 360-degree videos and images within stories. This allows you to direct users to points of interest, or they can explore a space on their own. We found that this fits amazingly well within the web stories format. While 360-degree video might not be what you want for all your content, stories allow using it only when it makes sense, and then it can be absolutely magical. Now, with so many cool new features, you probably are going to want your stories featured across as many surfaces as possible. We've put your interest in deeply integrating web stories into your site experiences, and we're working on a rich open source story player to help you do exactly that. Be sure to tune into the talk later with Arun, where he'll walk you through more details on what's new with the web stories format. But right now, I'd like to invite Vamsee, a product manager at Google, to talk about the recent announcements regarding web stories.
Thanks, Malte, and hello, everyone. My name is Vamsee Jasti. I'm a product manager on the team at Google that is bringing web stories to Google services. I'm super excited to be here and share the latest with you on how my team is thinking about the future of visual experiences across Google. You've probably seen the stories format in a number of different platforms. You just love them because they're visual first and bite-sized. But what's unique about web stories is that they live on the open web, just like a web page, and are entirely owned and controlled by you, including things like monetization and fine-grained analytics. We're thrilled for the wide audience of the web to have access to this visual content and format. Since web stories launched in 2018, we've seen millions of stories indexed from thousands of domains. And we continue to see amazing stories being produced by some of the top publishers and individual creators around the world. At last year's AmpConf, we announced how Google was starting to display web stories in Google search results on mobile. Since then, You may have seen stories appearing even more in search, such as when stories show up in blue links, a visual stories block for certain search queries like things to do in New York, or other places when you type in a domain name. In addition to the placement and search results, we've recently been testing web stories in Discover, the feed that uses Google technology to bring users personalized content about their interests from across the web. Search is great for meeting users when they have a specific question or need. But with over 800 million monthly active users, Discover is a tremendous opportunity to push content to users that interest them, and publishers are beginning to notice. There are many ways to access Discover. Some of the most common ways are the Android -1 screen or within the Google app on Android. Similarly, on the Google app on iOS. On google.com when you visit it from any browser on a mobile device. And finally, on the Chrome New tab page. With web stories and Discover, we see an opportunity for publishers to serve a mobile-first audience and enjoy a new traffic source for their content. We wanted to give users a prominent and predictable place where they could consume the best stories from the web, personalized to their interests. This is why, a couple of weeks ago, we launched a new web stories carousel within Discover that allows users to easily browse and consume a number of stories with the all-popular tapping and swiping gestures that most story users are familiar with. We've been experimenting with this carousel since April, and we've learned a lot during this time. We've noticed that users love stories that have video, have a strong narrative voice that makes stories personal or relevant and highlights unique aspects of the creator. Underneath the hood, they're just AMP pages, and a lot of what you already do can be transferred over. But there are also a variety of no-code tools being developed in the industry that can help you get started immediately. And finally, if you have a WordPress blog, it's easy to get started with WordPress Web Stories Editor. This is just the beginning, and we're looking forward to adding a ton more features and services where stories can show up across search and Discover. To learn more about how web stories are showing up on Google, or to learn how you can get started making web stories today, visit our new site, stories.google, where you'll find all the information you need to get started.
Thanks, Vamsee. I've especially enjoyed the new carousel experience in Discover. I need to personally admit to watching a lot of YouTube, like a lot, and I've never quite gotten lost in content like that on the web. Browsing the endless stream of stories in Discover was a game changer to me personally, and I truly believe they are a huge step forward to bringing creativity back in a way that has gotten lost in a bit since the early days of the web. Web stories are seeing a ton of momentum, and I can't wait to see the amazing experiences you all will create with the format. I now want to jump to our last topic in this talk, AMP for Email. AMP for Email has now been commercially available for more than a year and a half, and we are still constantly surprised at the new use cases we see for dynamic email every day. I'd now like to hand it over to Crystal with some exciting news about support for the AMP for Email format.
Thanks, Malte, and hello, everyone. I'm Crystal Lambert, technically a writer, working for the web on the AMP project. As Malte said, AMP for Email launched over a year ago at AmpConf Tokyo. At the time, AMP for Email was only supported by Gmail and mail.ru. But I'm excited to announce that Yahoo and AOL Mail have added their support for AMP for Email. But that's not all. Salesforce will launch support to send AMP-powered emails within their Marketing Cloud early next year. You'll get to hear all about it from John later, but we are so thrilled to help bring dynamic email to millions of new users. The types of experiences our supporters bring to their customers has absolutely inspired and delighted us. We've seen a ton of success in audience engagement from businesses building interactive email experiences. A consumer credit company based out of Italy called Fine Domestic used AMP to create an in-email calculator. Users were able to get their financing rate directly in their inboxes. This boosted their email click rate by 133%. The e-commerce platform Equin, which services over 1 million small businesses around the world, used AMP to create a follow-up function. Merchants on their platform sent this email experience to customers who left items in their carts. After they started sending dynamic emails, Equin merchants saw up to an 82% boost in sales. Be sure to check out the Sender Success with AMP for Email talk if you want to hear more awesome stories about how businesses are saving time, cutting costs, and creating marketing their customers like with AMP for Email. With that, I'd like to thank all of you so much for listening, and I'll send it back over to Malte.
Thanks, Crystal. It's great to see support for AMP for Email expanding to new email clients. As a technology, email has barely evolved since it was first introduced. With AMP for Email, I'm constantly blown away by the new use cases I'm seeing email senders take advantage of. For websites, AMP is only getting better every day. We're working to guarantee a great page experience for every AMP page, aligning with Google's new page experience signals. We're also making AMP more flexible so that more developers and site owners can take advantage of the productivity and cost-saving benefits of AMP. We call that AMP as a service. For stories, AMP is the underlying technology bringing tons of new interactive functionality like quizzes and 360 video, but web stories are still only just getting started. It's never been easier to create a story and share it online. And with web stories and Google, users can easily find your content across the surfaces they already look for answers and entertainment. With email, more senders and email clients are launching support for AMP for email to bring dynamic inbox experiences to their users. We're seeing a ton of success from senders using AMP for email, not just for marketing, but also for increased productivity. Thank you everyone for tuning into our first ever AMPfest. That was just the keynote. There's a whole lineup of talks scheduled after this that will take deep dives into everything we talked about. I hope you're all as excited for the rest of the event as I am, and look forward to chatting with you all in our live chat room. Thank you very much.